I did that thing I did. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review. Mount Eerie, Ocean Roar. Oh, Mount Eerie, why are you so dreary? Can't you be cheery? Oh, Mount Eerie. Yes. This is the latest LP from singer-songwriter Phil ELVERUM. It's actually his second full-length album of this year. The first album he released this year was Clear Moon. Reviewed it back in May. I put a somewhat detailed description of Phil ELVERUM's progression up until this point in that review. If you're interested in such a thing, feel free to watch that review via the description box in this video. Now, before the release of Clear Moon, I was really psyched for the release of what would be 2 albums from Mount Eerie this year. I mean, 2 full-length LPs in 1 year from one of my favorite artists ever. I am down. But when Clear Moon came out, I just thought it was slightly underwhelming. Still a good listen from a fan perspective. Definitely one of Phil's most serene albums. Definitely one of his more drone-laden albums, too. And it was kind of a stark contrast from the extremely black metal-influenced Wind's Poem that had dropped previously. I did like Clear Moon, but I just kind of wished I had liked it more. And I was kind of looking to this LP's sister album, Ocean Roar, to kind of come in, maybe, I don't know, connect some things, bring some things to light, maybe have me make some kind of grand realization that, whoa, these are both awesome. Yes. That could just kind of be something I'm projecting onto the album because I want it to do that. But I do get the feeling from what I've heard about the LP and the fact that they're both being released in this year that they are connected in some way. And if that is the case, I mean, I gotta say this album falls short. Very, very short. And, you know, I'm not even really sure it works as a standalone album either. To me, this album just kind of sounds like a very disjointed collection of B-sides and afterthoughts from Clear Moon and some black metal inspired tracks that wouldn't have really logically fit on that album, I don't think, and maybe were written too late to actually make it onto Wind's Poem. The album begins with the 10-minute song Pale Lights, where, you know, you kind of see from the sound of the track, you kind of see from the length of the song just right at the start of the album that Phil is just being enjoyably obtuse, just like he usually is. He really kind of comes through with some interesting ideas at the beginning of this album, incorporating elements of krautrock and drone, just like on Clear Moon. He's got some really kind of sharp guitars and organ coming through on this track as well. But this song eventually kind of segues to a quieter section where you do get some just glossier, softer organ and Phil singing over it. But how does the song make it into this section? What actually happens is the louder portion, just this louder instrumentation, gets kind of faded down. Not like, you know, playing softer. I mean, it literally gets faded down, and you just hear it in the background faintly as this softer instrumentation kind of gets introduced. It literally kind of sounds like you've turned one song down to just kind of press play and listen to another one. This loud portion of the song comes back. How does it come back? It just gets turned back up. While Mount Eerie is about experimentation, Mount Eerie is also, to me, about interesting ideas, and there's nothing all that interesting about just kind of fading out a portion of a song to just kind of introduce another one and then fading it back up. The next track on the LP, though, is very pretty, has Phil singing against some lovely female vocal harmonies. The instrumentation is very soft, serene, and it kind of bows its head with some extremely just shockingly cheesy stock sound effects of children going yay, and people like applauding. The only tracks that I really loved on this album were the black metal inspired tracks, which I felt like were even better than some of the black metal moments on Wind's Poem. There's just more tension to how the tracks build, especially the song Waves, which literally, you know, feels like very kind of hypnotic waves of strummed black metal guitar chords. Really heavy, really awesome. The track ENGEL der LUFT, which is another black metal inspired track, is way more chaotic and just heavy, just way more speed to that song, and I love it. And it glides, just segues perfectly into the next track, I Walked Home Beholding, which was just a lovely ballad. The instrumentals on this LP were okay. They kind of bookended the only section of the album that I liked. And, you know, the first one was nice, really kind of moody, dark. I like the woodwinds at the end of that track. And the last one, while it was black metal inspired, it wasn't exactly an amazing moment for me, and not even really a climactic closer. I'm just really kind of torn on this Mount Eerie LP, unfortunately. I can't help but feel like this thing is just a bunch of odds and ends. And if it isn't, you know, all content created specifically for this album, it does not flow all that well. And there are just some production choices that are very, very questionable. I'm really kind of feeling a strong 5 on this release, unfortunately. What did you think of it if you've given it a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Remember, the good comment, the great rate, but only the strong subscribe. Anthony Fantano, Mount Eerie, forever.